This is News 3 at 5 with Kim Capozzo.
Good evening. The campaign trail has led President Bush to the Daytona 500 today as the president goes after the so-called NASCAR dad votes. The latest national poll shows the president trailing Senator John Kerry in the presidential race. Is it time for the president to panic? Jennifer Johnson takes a look from Washington.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
The nation's commander-in-chief gave the command for drivers to start their engines at Sunday's Daytona 500 after a week of questions about his military service and decision to go to war against Iraq. President Bush wants to shore up some of those so-called NASCAR dad votes.
One of the things about NASCAR and the NASCAR fans is they support our military. We've got a lot of really good young men and women who are sacrificing for our country.
The latest national poll shows the president trailing Senator John Kerry by 8 points if the election were held today. Republican leaders say they expected that during the Democratic primary season.
They'd had the benefit of about $35 million in negative ads against the president in about 40 different markets so far.
Senator Kerry picked up 2 more caucus wins in Nevada and the District of Columbia this weekend.
The special interests.
The Democratic frontrunner is blasting the president's team for posting negative ads on the internet.
We deserve a president who wants to lift America, not divide America, and drag it down to the lowest common denominator of American politics.
While the president worked the crowds at Daytona, a key part of his political base, the Democratic contenders are in Wisconsin for another debate.
The president will stay on the campaign trail in Florida Monday, while the Democrats' next battle is in Wisconsin, which holds its primary Tuesday. John Kerry is leading in the polls there. In Washington, Jennifer Johnson for News 3. Kim, back to you.
Jennifer, thank you. It was a record-setting day for Nevada's Democrats as 8,000 people statewide attended Nevada's caucuses. An estimated 6,000 people turned out in Clark County alone. 4 years ago, only 600 people attended the event. Yesterday's turnout was partly because frontrunner Senator John Kerry made an appearance. In Reno, it was much of the same. More than 1,300 people filled a high school gym for the Washoe County caucus. That compares with the 200 or so that turned out 4 years ago. Well, it's one of the nation's most widely prescribed medications, but it can have serious consequences for those who go beyond following doctors' orders. Tonight, the DEA is looking at the possibility of tightening regulations on hydrocodone, which is sold as Lortab, Vicodin, and has 200 generic brands. News 3's Kori Chambers joins us live from the Las Vegas Recovery Center near Buffalo and Cheyenne. And Kori, that center is seeing the effects of hydrocodone abuse.
Kim, they do detox, medical detox, I should say, and they also do help people recover from all types of addictions. But they say in recent years they've really seen an explosion in the abuse of painkillers and hydrocodone. The DEA is trying to make it harder to prescribe and to refill prescriptions of the drug, but some say even that is not necessarily enough.
You take it as prescribed, and then it's not enough. You ask the doctor to give you some more, he gives you some more, and then it's not enough. So then you go out on the streets and you buy your drugs, and then you graduate to higher drugs. It's a snowball effect.
Joseph never imagined that a back injury would cost him 7 years of his life. Now success is measured on a calendar with 11 days clean. He says a prescription for hydrocodone led to a full-blown heroin addiction.
I pawned half the stuff in my house. Marital troubles, financial troubles, isolation, family troubles, you name it.
Dr. Mel Pohl has spent more than 20 years working in drug rehab and says the stories are the same, but the addictions are changing.
Hydrocodone, as I said, is the #1 medication that I detox people from, second probably to alcohol. I can tell you in terms of life disturbance, these drugs are right up there with drugs like heroin and cocaine. And
Pohl believes that tougher regulations for painkillers are only one part of the solution.
I think the more education we do and the more normative it becomes to not use substances to feel right, the more likely perhaps that people will never get started.
If you're going to prescribe them, somebody's going to sell them. Somebody doesn't want to take them. They're just there to get the money for them. You know, how are you going to regulate that?
And if you think that you are addicted to painkillers or any other drugs, you should not wait to get help. You can start by contacting your insurance company, or if you don't have insurance, you can contact any of the area rehab centers and they can at least guide you in the right direction. Reporting live from Kori Chambers now, back to you, Kim.
Great information. Thank you, Kori. If the DA is successful, hydrocodone would be moved into a more strictly monitored category of drugs known as Schedule 2. Doctors would no longer be able to phone in prescriptions, and pharmacists would have to keep the drugs in a safe. Improper prescribing could also carry bigger penalties. Well, it should have never happened. That's what police are saying after a deadly accident early this morning that was caused by a drunk driver. The crash happened at the intersection of Flamingo and Durango just before 7. That's where News 3's Ann Lim joins us live. And Ann, a woman is dead tonight and a man is behind bars.
And Kim, he faces some serious charges. We're told Robert Tromley was driving westbound here at Flamingo in a red Hyundai. The victim was in a silver Suzuki. We're told the light on the victim's side was green, so she had the right of way. Witnesses told police Tromley was going extremely fast when the light on his side turned red. Police say he flew through the intersection and hit the Suzuki. Officers say Tromley took off but was caught a short time later intoxicated.
Unfortunately, we wouldn't have to be here if A, the guy wasn't drinking and driving, and B, he was obeying the speed limit and driving the way he was supposed to. But here we are. We have a fatality in the vehicle still until we get done with our investigation.
And we don't know too much about the victim except that she was 22 years old. We'll have another live report for you coming up tonight at 6. Reporting live, I'm Ann Lim. Kim, back to you in the studio.
We'll see you at 6. Thank you, Ann. Tromley was charged with felony DUI and felony hit and run. According to Metro, about 30% of the deadly accidents that happen on Valley roads each year are caused by drunk drivers. Last year, there were 120 fatalities because of DUI-related accidents, and today's accident was the 17th DUI-related death so far this year. San Francisco City Hall opened up this morning to a line of same-sex couples looking to tie the knot. City Hall is normally closed on Sundays, but San Francisco is going out of its way to provide the licenses. It's the 4th day in a row that gay and lesbian couples have been granted a marriage license by the city of San Francisco. The mayor is challenging California's state law, prompting conservative groups to scramble for court intervention. Well, it's supposed to protect you inside your home, but security bars trapped a family inside a burning house, killing 4 children. Firefighters in South Florida say 3 children ranging in age from 6 months to 13 years old died before rescuers could get to them. The mother and 2 others made it out alive, but a 17-year-old died at the hospital. The others remain in critical condition with severe burns. Investigators say the security bars made rescue efforts difficult. An eyewitness says the mother was frantically trying to save her children.
That's why the lady was acting like crazy, because she's trying to running back and forth to try and save those kids.
Investigators still don't know what started that fire. Villagers living in a remote region of northern Pakistan remain stranded after earthquakes and aftershocks devastated the region. 2 strong earthquakes hit a mountain range there. The tremors sparked landslides and collapsed homes, killing at least 24 people. Government relief agencies have sent tents, blankets, and food to the remote area of northern Pakistan. The earthquake's magnitudes measured 5.7 and 5.5 and came about an hour and a half apart yesterday. Several small aftershocks were reported late on Saturday and early Sunday in that same area. Rescue workers in Moscow today picked through rubble and pumped warm air into the ruins of an indoor water park whose roof crashed down on hundreds of people. But hope of finding any more survivors has just about run out. At least 25 people are dead and 100 more are injured after the glass and concrete roof collapsed last night. The complex, which opened in 2002, was built in 18 months. It's one of several flashy facilities that have opened over the past couple of years on the city's outskirts. Well, a young activist says a local school put restrictions on a speech he planned for students.
They asked me not to make this into a gay rights campaign.
Why the school asked him to leave after they said he crossed the line. Plus, pets are invading St. Louis. Why these furry friends are all dressed up. Coming up on News 3 at 5, where news comes first.
You're watching Southern Nevada's #1 choice for news. This is News 3 at 5.
A young man with HIV says he was kicked off of Centennial High School's campus for telling the truth about a sexually transmitted disease. But administrators see it differently. In an exclusive Kids First report, Kendell Tenney shows us what stirred up the controversy.
I can't believe that people like this are in charge of educating students.
Thomas Leahy says he was asked to speak at an HIV fundraiser last night at Centennial High School, but was given certain restrictions by administrators.
They asked me not to make this into a gay rights campaign and not to talk about being gay or anything like that.
Leahy says he complied with the request, but school administrators weren't happy with his presentation.
I think that the young man that presented his made his presentation went beyond what we felt was appropriate.
I said that the most common way of HIV being contracted is through receptive sex.
Leahy says after he was done, he was asked to leave, and the vice principal even threatened to have police escort him off campus. But Centennial Principal Gary Velasquez says Leahy's speech offended some parents who had brought children to the Broadway-themed fundraiser.
A lot of parents were somewhat upset that he took that kind of an angle on this, and they felt that us asking him to leave was appropriate.
But the administration's treatment of Leahy sparked outrage from activists like Matthew Polzin, who called Principal Velasquez this morning.
He did tell me that Centennial High School will no longer support any HIV or AIDS program within their school.
Well, I think we'll probably take it on a case-by-case basis. You know, we're always open to helping good causes, but I think we'll probably be more selective on who we have represent the foundations from now on.
Leahy says he kept his agreement with the school not to delve into his personal life, but wishes now he had said more to educate people about HIV.
It's almost like if you say sex or STD or gay or anything like that, if you say anything related to that, it's taboo, and, you know, they want to kick you out of school.
Kendell Tenney, News 3.
How people responded to Leahy's speech depends on who you talk with. Leahy says the audience was overwhelmingly supportive and wanted to ask more follow-up questions. But the vice principal told News 3 that of the 150 people in attendance, she had 10 parents come to her to say they were offended by Leahy's remarks. Mardi Gras has gone to the dogs. Why these pets are parading around.
Good afternoon, Dana Wagner here at the News 3 Weather Center, and increasing clouds here in the valley this afternoon. We'll tell you what those clouds mean for your Monday forecast, your holiday forecast, coming up next here on News 3.
Today in St. Louis, Missouri, more than 5,000 dogs and 75,000 spectators turned out for what's become one of the largest pet parades in the world. The Barkus Pet Parade has been a tradition since 1994 and kicks off the city's annual Mardi Gras celebration. The parade raises money for a local animal shelter.
So many smells, not enough time.
Dogs and cats living together.
Mass hysteria. Yeah.
This weather could cause some mass hysteria for all the people who are visiting, who have to go back to the nasty weather in their homes because it is just gorgeous, capital G.
You like today, you're going to love tomorrow, and I think Tuesday's even better, and yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Wrap it up.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Let's show you a time lapse from just a couple of hours ago as we put this into motion. Watch the skies above the stratosphere. A few jets flew through the picture, and you can see the contrails behind there. Pretty cool time lapse, I think, this afternoon. Jeff Chavez, you give me a thumbs up on that one? Jeff left, okay. All right, Justin gave me a thumbs up on that one. Jeff is the hardest critic, one of the studio cam guys, but every once in a while I'll go, that was pretty good. 61 degrees right now outside. Winds coming out of the east-southeast at 5. They have been light all weekend, and we think that they'll remain light for the next couple of days at least. Humidity at 18%, so there's not much moisture in the air right now, but we will see clouds off and on for the next couple of days. That is the one caveat to the forecast. Let's take you outside now to our Wells Fargo WeatherNet stations from around the valley, and we have some current temperatures out there in basically the upper 50s, lower 60s. We did top out at 62 degrees today, overnight down to 37. Very typical numbers for the middle of February. February 15th should be like this. Our average 63 on the top end, 41 on the bottom end, and sunset coming just a few minutes from now. Let's show you some current numbers from around the southwestern United States. Much warmer this afternoon than it has been the last few afternoons. Elko has been down in the teens we've seen, but right now they're at 28, 36 at Ely, Phoenix checking in at 68 degrees. Closer to home here in southern Nevada, temperatures look like this. Basically in the 60s right now with 67 at Laughlin. Mount Charleston just now below that freezing mark at 31. We started mostly cloudy early this morning, and then the clouds pushed off to the east. And we saw plenty of sunshine all day long across the greatest majority of Nevada. But now we're starting to see some clouds filter in from the west. In fact, there's a winter storm watch in effect for the Lake Tahoe, Reno areas for tonight. Chance of seeing some snow, especially around the lake tonight. Down here, we're just looking for some no rain out of this deal because we have a little bit of high pressure starting to build in. And as this high begins to build in, we're going to notice the temperatures are going to bump up to near 70 degrees here in the valley. We'll also see a few clouds out of this, but nothing in the way of any rain, at least until Wednesday. Tomorrow, looking for 68 at Lake Mead. We're looking for a low tonight of 41 degrees under partly cloudy skies. Tomorrow, a little bit warmer than it was today with a high of 64 degrees. And then watch what happened to the temperatures on Tuesday and Wednesday. We're talking about 70s right now. Now, this is no record-setting heat or anything, but it's just about 20 degrees warmer than it was last Thursday and Friday, and that's why it's going to seem so warm. But on Wednesday, you see that chance?
Yes.
Chance of seeing some showers Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evening.
You know, I bet a lot of people are torn because it's great to see 70 because it's been chilly, but then we all know it's kind of downhill or uphill from there, depending on how you look at it, because it just seems like those summer temperatures are going to be here before we know it.
Yeah, well, we're headed that way, but let's just enjoy it while it lasts.
Good advice. Thanks, Dana Wagner.
Sure.
Well, it's been a very busy day in the world of sports. Rick Strasser's in next with racing, golf, and baseball. Plus, the Runnin' Rebels try to straighten things out in the Show Me State. Stay with us. It's all next on News 3 at 5.
Welcome back. The worst loss in Runnin' Rebel history was by 57 points against Houston 33 years ago. They did not break that dubious record today at Missouri. That's the good news. After a tough week of finger-pointing, they tried to straighten things out against Ole Mizzou for the Tigers. Jason Connolly, the fast break jam for the Tigers. There's plenty more for Missouri. Arthur Johnson, another punctuation mark. Missouri led by 27 at the half, 54-27. The second half was nothing but a formality. Lots more Missouri. Bad pass. Nice play by Connolly ahead to Jason Garner for the flush. The Tigers by 30. Oi! More bad basketball from the Rebels. Lewis Amundsen, the bad pass. That's tipped by Conley, saved by Conley, then pulls up for three by Conley. Yep, Missouri by 38. Oh my. Here's a microcosm of the game. UNLV break, Ramel Beck misses the open layup, but nice scrapping by Odarte Blankson. He finally gets a hold of it, and he'll eventually put it in. He led the Rebels with 16. Here's a nice stat for J.K. Edwards. His first three-point attempt of his career, bottom. His first make. Let him shoot that more often. This one was ugly for the Scarlet and Gray. The final score, 94-60, a 34-point thumping in Columbia. Rebels now 12-9 versus San Diego State at home on Tuesday night. To the diamond for the conclusion of the Hustlin' Rebels' initial home series against Western Kentucky. Ryan Ruiz pops one perfectly into no man's land. That will drop in for an RBI single, part of a big fifth inning for the Rebs. Later, Eric Nielsen, he rips one to left. That'll fall in to bring in another run. It puts the Rebels up 10-4. Not done yet in the fifth inning. Senior first baseman Eddie Gill sends one the other way. One run trots him from second. The other one trying to score from first will be gunned down. UNLV sweeps the series. 17-4 was the final score. A few tidbits to chew on going into the Daytona 500. Two father-son combos have won the Great American Race. 6 years ago today, the late Dale Earnhardt won his only Daytona 500. His son was the pole sitter today, looking for his first as well. President Bush was on hand to give the customary gentlemen start your engines. And when the president tells you to start your engine, what do? Yeah, you start that engine. In restrictor plate racing at the super speedways, there's always the chance for the big one. Here it is. On lap 71, a good old-fashioned Upe. Many cars involved in this melee. Michael Waltrip got the worst of it, flipping 3 times in the infield. He would be okay. But later on, as you can see, his car would need a little bit of work done on it. Oh, my. The biggest point in the race, 19 laps left. Tony Stewart leading Dale Earnhardt Jr. Not anymore. You can see Las Vegas Kurt Busch there, but he was a lap down. Earnhardt cruises from there, for his first Daytona 500 victory, the third father-son combo to win the Super Bowl of NASCAR. Finally to the links, where a local had a shot at catching this guy. John Daly was trying to hold the lead at the Buick Open. Barely made that, but former Rebel Chris Riley on 18 for birdie to tie Daly at 10 under. You bet. He was looking for his second career win. It would go to a three-way playoff with Daly, Riley, and Luke Donald. Daly, the absolutely brilliant bunker shot on the first playoff hole inside of a foot. He'd birdie that hole. Donald would par, so Riley needs to hit a birdie putt to force a second playoff hole. Oh, whoa! That's just not fair. Yeah, give it to him. Heartbreaking for Riley, exhilarating for Daly. He wins his first tournament in 9 years.
That just doesn't seem quite fair, does it?
No, every time it happens to me, I'm just not happy. At least I'm just happy when I hit the hole.
There you go. We'll be right back.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Gerard Romalo. Here's what we're working on for News 3 at 6 o'clock. A man threatening suicide is dead tonight, and 2 police officers are responsible for his death. We'll show you what happened. Plus, it was passed late last year, but is cell phone switching the best way to go? The Saving You Money team digs deeper to see if it's worth the switch. And the local community helps a 7-year-old boy who lost his entire family to a tragic fire. Those stories and much more coming up after Nightly News. Kim?
Thank you, Gerard. And that does it for us here at News 3 at 5. We will be back in a half hour. See you then.